Welcome to Holly's Pandorium, featuring your host, psychic medium Holly Jordan.
Hi, everybody. We're back. This is Holly with Holly's Pandorium. And I have with me tonight a guest I have not spoken with before. And I'm really excited for a couple of reasons. One, he has an incredible resume. He's done a lot of amazing things in the paranormal world. But there's a itty bitty chance that we might actually be related. Possibly. Maybe. We don't know. So this is kind of fun. So hello, this is Thomas Gormley. I'm so glad to have you here. Thanks for coming on today.
Oh, thanks for having me on, Holly. It's always nice to be able to talk to a fellow weirdo that likes to talk about ghosts and be able to get those stories out there.
Yes. And I appreciate you saying a fellow weirdo, because it's not still common to do all the stuff that we do and to be involved in everything that we're involved in. But it's great to find someone that you have something in common with. The first ghost conference I ever went to, a dear friend of mine who invited me to go said, "These are my people." And I thought, oh my God, that's a perfect statement, because everybody around, you knew once you walked in the building, you were among like-minded people. And there was something really cool about that.
Yep. I think that's one of the bigger things for me, being part of the events group called the Shaman and the Showman, and being able to bring these events to people here up in New England. The important part is when people come, they're able to come into a safe area with fellow-minded, glorious weirdos like ourselves, and get to talk about this stuff and educate and expound on what some of their knowledge is, and be able to exchange ideas in a safe place. So I think that's very important with that, and being able to network with other fellow people, whether it be somebody that's been doing it for a long time, like 40 years like me, or somebody that's just getting into it. You could learn something from everybody, whether it's day one for them or whether it's 50 years with them.
I agree. I've interviewed I'm starting my fourth year of podcasting, and I've met people from all over the world and all over the US. And I'm never more amazed to just see how diverse everyone's experiences are. It's kind of incredible. So I've met some people that are just barely fledgling into stuff, and they see and hear things. I'm going, wow, that's incredible. I've been a psychic medium since I was a little teeny thing, and I love to hear how people get started into that world and how they begin. So, would you mind sharing with us a story that kind of was a beginning for you, or something that was when things were new, before things were rolling for you like they are now?
Yeah, it's funny because I've been sensitive my whole life. I didn't know what it was growing up, because we don't have the resources like we have now.
Right.
Just go on your phone and find stuff. I would go into a room and just feel strange, and didn't know why. And I would have these reoccurring dreams that this sound was coming, and it's like something was calling me, calling me, calling me, and coming at me. And it's kind of frightening at first. But it was around when I was about 15. Um, some friends that drove at the time, because I didn't drive yet, but they took us Halloween. We went to go to a college and see a couple people speak on the paranormal and their experiences, and have to be Ed and Lorraine Warren. And I got to meet them after, and I just remember, everybody backstage, kind of to meet them, like a meet and greet, and they're kind of all milling around. And Lorraine just like skipped everybody, came up to me, and she knew to tell me, "Hey, honey, you've been having problems." She would call everybody honey. So still to this,
Right.
all the way up
Right.
until the day she passed away. But
Nice.
and she recognized it, and had a little bit of a relationship with them. But I think the great thing about them is mentoring me to see what this was all about for me. Nobody really, during the 80s, nobody talks about that stuff. And it's funny how that show Stranger Things takes place during the 80s and all that. So that's when a lot of weird things happened for me. And meeting her as a mentor and a building block for me to start my own career to help people, help the living and help the dead is, I keep it simple. That's how I do it. And that calling I had over and over and over again as the years went by, the calling ended up being that, I was called to be a shaman, and I had to, go through that shaman sickness and keep denying it. And it was after my mom died in 2012 that I finally embraced it. And to this day, lots of cases over the years and lots of people to help overcome fear and be able to sleep at night has always been the best thing out of the paranormal that I've experienced.
My microphone's giving me issues. I have to say I appreciate the way you're referring to things, because I know when it starts for most people, a lot of people have things happen in their teens. I feel like that's such a high energy part of our lives, and it just kind of multiplies and amplifies whatever you were experiencing. Um, but I feel like there's a timing thing too. I think, her coming up to you and acknowledging you was probably exactly what you needed at the right time to kind of say, I see you and I know that you're having trouble. So
Yeah,
that's amazing that you had that opportunity at
yeah.
such a young age.
I owe her a lot. Who knows how my life would have been if, if I didn't know why I felt that way. Could I ended up in the Lulu hospital? Hey, maybe I could have. But knowing what it was, and knowing that I wasn't crazy or going crazy or anything like that, was very helpful. I
Yeah.
owe a lot to her, and I'll leave it at that. But
Gotcha.
it's an important person in my life. There's been a lot of important people in my life, but just on the journey of the paranormal, I owe Lorraine Warren a lot. And, you know, I know there's a lot of stuff going on in the world right now about that, but I'll leave it at that.
Okay. Gotcha.
I have my relationship with her. And again, we were talking about all the different people that have had, paranormal things happen. And when I talk to people about it, is I could tell you everything that's happened to me, but not everybody's going to believe what happened to me, or they're going to
Right.
believe it. That's the thing is everything that we experience in the paranormal is our personal experience.
Right.
Nobody could tell us yes or no, because how are you going to tell me I was there? This is what happened to me.
Right.
So that's the way I look at it. Anybody that's ever had an experience, for somebody to tell you no, that didn't happen and they weren't there, you know, all the power to them. But I know what happens to me over the years, and I'm not going to tell you or try and convince you otherwise. But that's what happened to me. I'll tell you all about it. You could believe it or not. And I always tell people, oh, no, I don't believe that. And I always invite them, hey, come on one of our public investigations. And they always say no. And it goes back to one of the quotes is, Ed Warren actually said, nobody believes in ghosts, but everybody's afraid of them. So
That's a great
yeah,
statement. I love that.
yeah. But
Yeah.
it is. It's the misunderstanding and, how we look at things. Everybody looks at it different. You can't define a ghost. Nobody would ever say the same exact thing. It's all a
Right.
personal experience and how you see it. It's energy, it's consciousness. There's so many different definitions to it. What you see, a white figure, a dark figure, shadow figure, whatever you want to see, a puff of
Right.
smoke, that's what the German word geese or whatever, Geist,
Hmm.
is, that's German for ghost, but actually translates into puff of smoke. So that's how it's defined. So if
That's
you look at
awesome.
your word origins and all that and how these things come together, it is that type of thing. And there's so many different meanings, and that's what makes the paranormal so fun. Is we'll never prove it scientifically, anything, because that's
Yeah.
what's great about it. It's the chase. It's being able to meet people like you, Holly, through this and be able to talk about our weird stuff. We all have theories, but once we prove it, guess what? It's not paranormal anymore. It just becomes normal. So,
Exactly.
and that's why I
Exactly.
love it being para anything is always fun.
Right.
Yep.
Well, and I think that's very true, because I think what you said about going back to what Ed said in particular, the fact that there's a belief in ghosts or a fear of ghosts, but you don't want to believe in it. people tend to not believe a lot of paranormal things until it's in their face and they have to face it themselves.
Yeah.
Regardless of the subject matter. I've noticed a lot of people that come from very diverse backgrounds, and they'll tell you, I would never have believed this if I hadn't seen it with my own eyes.
Yeah.
And I know, being an experiencer myself, once you get past your own self-doubts of, did I really see that? Did I really hear that? We always question what is happening, what's going on? And to be able to say, well, I can't deny what I saw. I know what I heard. I know what I saw. And so you kind of claim it. It's like, I know what I experienced. So I appreciate you describing it that way,
Yeah.
because it is very personal for people. It's what they take in from whatever they were exposed to.
I've seen it. I've had two people witness seeing something, and the two of them described it differently. It's how the mind picks it up. And when you see something you don't understand, you try and make sense of it, of stuff that you've already learned.
Right.
So that's how you try and make sense of it. Hey, it looked like this, or the other person said it looked like this. They all had a different upbringing up to that point. So they all have different views of it and how they perceived that manifestation or that energy or whatever they experienced. So there's a lot that goes into it. There's so many, it's like a big onion and you're peeling back layers, and there's always something else and all
Yeah.
that. And that's what makes it so fun. It's to chase.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people want to look at it scientifically. I love that, but you'll never be able to prove it scientifically, because I can't make a spirit voice come through the same over and over and over again.
Right.
Everybody that's part of an experiment, everybody's energy is different from day to day. The
Yes.
weather is different, everything you could think of. But for me, I've always simplified it. I know a lot of people look at it scientifically. A lot of people look at it, a different way. But for me, when I help a client or I help a family, it's about counseling the living and counseling the dead. Sometimes the dead doesn't know they're dead, and you have to help them work through that trauma. Same
Yeah.
thing with the living. Their trauma could create their haunting. So we have to work through all those phases. And especially for me, I love history. And the
Yeah.
thing is, I tell people, you need to know your history of the location that you're working on, because if you don't, it's hard. You're going to go in, and what's your name? You should already know who's lived there. You
Right.
should start calling out names and see who might respond, because
Right.
not everybody's going to respond to you. I could bring somebody else in, and a certain spirit might respond to them because of recognition. It's
Right.
almost like going to Gettysburg. If you were a military vet and you go there, the spirits might respond more to the military vet because they recognize that. So
Right.
there is those differences with people's different energies and how spirit will react to them. And I think it's another aspect to look at above science. It's just familiarity with spirits that are close to that type of part of history, and the similarities are always what gets the reaction. So,
I appreciate you mentioning this, because I think there's a lot of people that do ghost investigations that don't put that into their array of what possibilities could be.
yeah,
They seem to forget that ghosts are people too. In fact, I do a lot of work with spirits, and I've been told that a lot of them prefer to be called the living adjacent, because they don't like the idea that they're referred to as dead,
yeah,
because they're not dead. They're
no,
very much alive. They have feelings. They want to be addressed with respect.
yeah,
And so I appreciate what you're saying about knowing names and going in with some acknowledgement, because it's becoming more prevalent in my area, and I'm hoping it's everywhere else as well, to have that regard and to just not bombard this haunted place without saying, I'm here because I would love to talk to you. I would love to hear from you. I would love to hear your story. Not this, we just want something for our, media purposes.
yeah,
The ghosts are getting hip to being used. They don't appreciate people coming in and just grabbing data and running away.
yeah.
They expect to be treated with some regard and some consideration. And so I think your approach is exactly spot on. I think that's exactly what people should be doing.
Yeah, that's what we do. with my investigations on top of that, like I said, I help the living and the dead. There's trauma involved, and some investigators, they get to that point where they don't know what to do with a family that's having a PTSD issue or anything like that. And I run a group. I'm what they call the circle keeper of a group called Wardruna. It's a national group. It's a healing group where we have everybody like psychic mediums. We have the biggest array of shamans, but we also have clinical psychologists, people that do
Nice.
EMDR, hypnotherapists like yourself,
Mhm.
anything you could think of holistically. We have a gentleman that's a cook, and he teaches people how to cook for, depression. And we have
Nice.
a woman that does holistic healing with natural herbs. Anything you could think of, we have it. We have backing, and we get cases from actually military hospitals to help people with PTSD through their
Nice.
possible paranormal issue. So this is a big thing, and we have a lot going on. I had it with the help of the woman, my other half there, Stacia Wills, who is also a shaman, and she started this 20 years ago, and they put together a program where they take people from point A to point Z.
Nice.
So if I do an investigation and I determine, with my psychological background, hey, this person's having a PTSD issue, let's send them to our clinical therapist, uh,
Right.
our psychotherapist, whatever we have to be able to help them. And when we're done helping them, bring them back to the situation. A lot of times when you take care of the trauma, the paranormal goes away for them. That's what's haunting them. They're trying to put their mind, I'm having a problem. So their problem becomes their own, what they call familiar demon,
Yeah.
is when you have such internal angst or PTSD becomes your darkness, and
Right.
you have to come to terms with it, and then that helps you. Or if you're an alcoholic or anything like that, come
Right.
to terms with it. Some people manifest it into the paranormal, and that's what we do to help them get away from that. There's so much that goes into Wardruna, but it covers pretty much every aspect you could think of. And we always encourage other groups out there that if they come to an impasse, to just give us a call, reach out to us, and that way we could help it along. We're not taking over your client. We're giving
Right.
them help just like they all deserve to have help, whether they be living
Right.
or dead. And again, you talk about, you know, being respectful. That's a big thing for me. And when I do investigations or the public ones, I always tell the people we're bringing in, yes, be respectful. But I always make sure everybody has the right intent. Intent is the most important word or thing you could do when you do an investigation.
Yep.
What you put in is what you'll get out. If you go in guns a-blazing, then you're probably going to get shot at. So if you go in nice and you want to go in to help, then that's what you're probably going to get out of it. So that's, you got to remember. That's
Right.
important.
Yeah. No, I agree 100%. It's definitely intent based. I
Mhm.
definitely agree.
Yeah.
And I love your group purpose. My goodness. I mean, wow. I mean,
And no,
that's incredible.
yeah, nobody else is doing that successfully right now like we are. I say there's other people that have thoughts like that, but I think the group that we've put together, there's so many different aspects to it, and they're all working, you know, with each other, and we're able to help each other and refer each other. These are all different groups. It's almost like a Rolodex. They're still doing their thing,
Right.
but we're able to refer people, and it's almost like subcontractors within the company and all that.
Nice.
And we're able to, do our thing and help others and keep doing that, because clinical psychologists still going to be working with patients, but then
Right.
we send them patients that have, paranormal issues. A lot of these psychologists do have that belief in the paranormal and how the trauma works and what we're talking about.
Right.
So it makes it easier for them to be able to know what the person's talking about and not say, "Hey, you're crazy. I got to put you away for
Right.
72 hours. Let's get through what this actually is." We've had people where they were hearing voices. Come to find out, they had a vitamin D deficiency. So once that was equaled out and they went through their hospital stay because it was so bad, they had the vitamin D up and the voices went away. So you're recognizing different things where people think, oh my God, devils are talking to me, when they're really not. It's just,
Right.
you have to find out and pinpoint. And we have so many good people that have been doing this for so long and are able to see those things. And it helps. It helps them be able to sleep at night and not think that every bump in the night is something demonic or anything like that, and go running screaming through the house. So we're able to help people with that and see it for what it is. And that's what I love about the group. And we have some of the best in the industry backing it, big names in the industry. And it's always appreciated, the feedback. We all get together as a group and discuss everything and make sure that we're all on the same page. So it's great.
That's incredible. So does the group ever do public access type things? Do you ever go to events and guest speak or anything like that?
Yes.
How?
Yep.
Okay.
All the time. So when I do my events, of course, I'm there. I bring the group in. When we had our Connecticut Paracon, we had over 11 members at the Paracon. There was about 4 or 5 of us that really spoke about Wardruna. And it
Nice.
seems like anytime we talk about it, when we do talk, the audience is, there's so many people that want to hear about it, because it's actually, the more people that are hearing about it, the more I think it's making some changes in the paranormal. It's turning it on its head. It's creating a new pathway or a new way to look at it. It's not the same old, hey, let's go put a whole bunch of lights and let's see what we could get.
Right.
Let's dig down deep. There are still ways of getting evidence, but there's more evidence of what's going on with people inside, or the spirit. The spirit still has issues too. Um, I really look at it this way: we're all still the same. The only difference between us is that they just don't have the meat suit anymore. So that's that
That's
terrible meat suit
perfect.
that keeps us down. So
Absolutely.
yeah.
And I think that's the important thing that I try really hard to be mindful of with
Mhm.
people that are new, is that that's really the only difference. That is the only difference. They don't have a way to work out their problems like we do because they're minus the meat suit.
Yeah.
The problems don't go away in death.
Yeah.
If you're still sorting out emotional trauma, if you're still dealing with things that are hard for you or that are going on in your family, you're even more trapped because
Yeah.
you don't have a physical body to handle things with. You're even more isolated. You need more help in the beyond to sort things out.
You do. There is that ancestral line. Your great
Yes.
great grandfather had issues, and it creates the next generations to hold on to those issues too.
Yeah.
And that's what happens. And again, that's part of our group. We want to break the chains for people that have that repetitive part of their genealogy, or the ancestors that they've had, to help put them on a different path, break the chains, change things for your life, and make it for the better, the greater good.
Right.
So there's all that aspect of it. There's so much in the paranormal and all that, and just what we're doing as our group, and everything what we bring to the table. Or I'm in like teaching mode now mostly. We do
Are
have,
you?
yeah, I'm in teaching mode. Like when we do our public investigations, I like to teach people, hey, try this, try that, let's see if this works for you. I think to this day, when I talk to somebody on the phone, I might talk to them for 5 minutes. I can make, figure out the problem, and they're like, oh, thank you. I feel better now. I don't have to worry about it. Good. You take those, and then you take the big long investigations. I think in 40 years, I've probably dealt with over 1,000 cases, and
Right.
everything is always different. Nothing's ever the same, because
True.
again, everybody has different experiences for themselves and how they get it out. There is pattern to it. It's just like my other background has a criminologist and a profiler.
Right.
Even serial killers, they all have patterns, but they all have that fingerprint. They
Yes.
may follow that pattern, but they're all different in how they came to the point to become what they are. It's the
Right.
same thing in the paranormal. There is pattern to the paranormal, but everybody has a different way of looking at their experience.
Exactly.
Mhm.
So I was going through your background a little bit, and there was something that caught my attention that I have no information on before. Would you mind sharing a little bit about the Connecticut Triangle? I've never
So
heard of that. What is that?
The Connecticut Triangle is more of this town.
Okay.
There's 3 places in this town that are creating energy. There's one house, and then across the street is another house that used to be a tavern where the horses back in the day would come. And then you triangulate it to the rectory where the church was.
Okay.
So in this town, it created this triangle. A friend of mine is the first selectman of this town, and he lives in one of the houses.
Really?
And his sister lived across the street at the other one.
Wow.
So all 3 of these places have energy that's moving back and forth in this triangle and creating this haunting in the area. And
Wow.
I tell you, I've always picked up stuff there, all kinds of different things. I've had conversations. Of course, it's great when you could have a conversation with a historical figure that's passed away.
Heck
And
yeah.
you know, and you have that back and forth. And one of the houses across the street, back in the day, they would, you know, when the draft would happen, and they'd come to say, "Hey, you're trying to dodge the draft," and they catch up
Right.
to you. There was a story of how one of the people that came to pick up a guy because he was dodging the draft, and the guy came out in the front porch and shot the guy to keep him from having to go,
Oh,
and killed the guy right there in the steps. And I picked up on the guy that was shot. He didn't know he was dead. So we had to have a conversation out on the porch, a
mhm.
back and forth, and then he realized that, you know, he had passed. And you know, we talked for a little bit. It sounds weird as I'm saying this, some of the people watching, but I do have that conversation. I
Yeah.
sometimes use a box and you could hear them coming back and forth through it.
Right. Right.
So he finally, you know, knew that he had passed and just moved on. He made the decision. And I
Yeah.
tell people all the time when I'm teaching how to deal with people that have passed, how to work through their trauma, how to
Right.
help them make that transition. You're only helping them. You're not doing it yourself.
Right.
I tell people all the time, and I've said this many times, if you were a smoker and I told you to quit smoking, you don't quit smoking until you make the decision to quit smoking. I could tell you
That's
all
right.
I want. It's the same
Right.
thing in the spirit world. People got to understand is they have to make that decision to move on. And a lot of times, I've said this before, I'm so known for this that there are places that I call them pay to plays, where you pay money and you go do the investigations.
Oh yeah. Okay.
These places don't want me to come. They think I'm going to make all their spirits leave and take all their money away from. I was like, well, it's kind of nice that they know they think I'm that good at it that I could get rid of everything.
Yeah.
But the fact of the matter is, I have an agreement with, whether you believe it or not, spirit guides,
Right.
and I have them tell the spirit, if you need help, they tell them just call his name.
Right.
And if you're ever with me on an investigation, a lot of people will tell you that have been with me, spirit box will say my name. A pendulum will spell out my name. If you have a talking
Yeah.
board, it'll spell out my name. It means I need help. Help me.
Right.
And then I go to work.
Right.
So if a spirit doesn't want to leave, I'm not going to make it leave. I can't. They got to make the
Right.
decision themselves. We could have the conversation, but
Right.
you have to make that decision just like we do in life. Like I said, if you're a smoker, hey, quit smoking. I'm not going to do it until I decide to.
Right.
That's
Exactly.
what
I
it is.
love that. I
Yep.
love that. I do a little something on a much smaller scale here where I live in Washington State, and I do seances every Sunday.
Yeah.
And so I now have there's communication in the spirit world in my area that if people need to talk or if there's something going on that they're struggling with, they can come here on Sunday night and there's an outlet. And I have had some of the most amazing conversations. In fact, one of them is with a Civil War era ghost that made friends with a ghost that passed in the 60s. They became friends, but he suffers from PTSD.
Mm-hmm.
And he didn't know what it was. And when we talked, he referred to it as battle fatigue, which
Yep.
I learned was an older expression of this similar type of situation. But it took time for him to feel comfortable to talk about what he was going through because he didn't really understand it, and he was so stuck with what keeps happening and not understanding why it was happening.
Yeah.
And so I'm fascinated with it. I love the idea that a spirit would ever feel like they wanted to talk.
Yeah. It happens a lot. Let's just take what you just said. A spirit, a military spirit
Mhm.
that had the PTSD or the battle fatigue or anything like that. You don't get over it, right?
No.
Even
No,
before
they
you
don't.
pass, if you've gone through, war, you have that PTSD, and a lot of them, especially back World War I, World War II, they didn't believe in getting counseling,
Ever.
so they held it in.
Right.
And I had a case a few years back, and we got a call, and the woman said, "My son is getting scratched and pushed." And we're like, okay. So we came to check it out. Most people are going to think, oh my God, something demonic's going on. Not really. Sometimes, like I said, if you're a spirit and you're desperate
Right.
to get your message out, you'll do whatever it takes, especially when you're in the spirit world and you're
Right.
sensitive like yourself and like myself. We become
Right.
beacons of light. This
Exactly.
young boy that was getting scratched and pushed had psychic abilities and didn't realize he had them. He was still
Right.
developing. He was young. He's like maybe
Sure.
17, 18. So this thing is like, hey, talk to me. Talk to me. I got a
Please.
message.
Yeah.
I
Right.
need to get my message out.
Right.
So we finally went and had a conversation finally with this spirit. And it was hard coming through. He was showing us what he looked like before everything. Sometimes spirit world will show you who they were before everything happened,
Right.
before the PTSD. So we saw him as
Right.
a young soldier. So it told us, okay, so he was in the military. And then we had an SLS camera going, and the stick figure was up in the bedroom where the boy was staying, and it kept pointing down, kept pointing down, kept pointing down. What the hell is it pointing at?
Right.
So we look at his garbage can, and the boy had on the garbage can one of those stickers for the that water, whatever, the canned water called Liquid Death.
Oh yeah. Okay.
So it gave us the clue that, hey, maybe the spirit was an alcoholic because of what he did during the war and what he
Okay.
saw. And
Sure.
ding, ding, ding.
Yeah.
Then it really got excited that we were communicating, and we realized,
Right.
okay, he must have been an alcoholic. And then we realized that as we got deeper into it and we're picking up more stuff, that he really treated his family bad
Oh,
because of the alcoholism, and he was really upset about it, and he felt like he couldn't pass because he was afraid what was going to happen to him because of the way he was in life. So he asked us, I want to apologize to my wife. Can you put daisies on her grave?
mm,
So we're like, okay. So now we had to go do our research and found out where her grave was.
right.
And just before Christmas time, I was person I was working with was on vacation in Florida. I had this overwhelming feeling to go find the grave.
Okay.
So I went out, I found out where the grave was, and this huge, they just show you the plot. They don't tell you exactly where it is.
Right.
So I'm like thinking, well, it's a small town. It's probably not a big graveyard. I go in there, there must have been 500 different graves. I'm like, I'm never going to find this stupid thing,
Right. Right.
I was like a little frustrated. It was kind of raining out a little bit. So I just drive in. I just kept driving. And all of a sudden I said, I'm just going to stop here. This is kind of maybe centrally located. I said, okay, I'm just going to get out of the car. I'll go this way and kind of walk in the center and kind of go in and out until I find it.
Mm-hmm.
I step out of the car. I walk 10 feet and there it is right in front of my face. Out
Nice.
of all the graves. And it's like
Right.
almost like it was telling me to stop there. And I really
Sure.
just felt like I went there, and I knew, I was like, okay, they wanted me to stop there. And I felt that overwhelming feeling that, oh, this is where it is. When my partner I was working with came back, we said, okay, we're going to do a ritual and all that. We'll put the daisies on the wife's grave.
Mm-hmm.
So she's driving to come see me. She was like always late at the time. So I'm already there waiting for her to come. And we're talking winter time.
Yeah.
So where are you going to find daisies? They're like, oh.
Right. Yeah.
So she stops at a place, and the spirit came through to her, say, really, you're going to stop at a gas station for flowers for my wife? So it's kind of giving her like a hard time. So she finally went to a flower shop and found daisies in the middle of the winter, which
Nice.
of course is another, nice thing that, the universe gives us sometimes.
Yes.
And so she gets them and she's driving. Then all of a sudden she felt him say, my wife and I had a song too. And all of a sudden it started playing on the radio,
Nice.
on a radio station that really doesn't play that type of music. It was just so
Okay.
weird for her. I don't know if she was
Right.
picking it up and projected that to come out of the radio. I don't
Mhm.
know.
Right.
Because I wasn't there when she was experiencing that. And she says, it's Dream a Little Dream. All right.
Nice.
So we get to the graveyard and we said, okay, I picked up my phone and we're playing Dream a Little Dream, kind of doing a nice little blessing and
Right.
put the daisies on the wife's grave. And later on that night, the family called and said, what did you guys just do? She says, the house just instantly, everything changed in the house. It's not heavy anymore. It just lightened up all of a sudden.
Yeah.
What did you guys do? And I told her what we did. And we feel he made the decision to transition because he felt the apology was accepted.
Yeah.
And I think he made that transition. I really wasn't there to feel it per se, but I think where his energy most was at the house and they felt it there. That's why
Yeah.
they kind of had that feedback. Go a few months later, we had another case and we were headed there. And again, the partner I was working at late again pulls in, opens the window, says, you will not believe what's on the radio right now. So I go over to the car, Dream a Little Dreams on.
Wow.
It was almost like he was so happy
Yeah.
that we helped him that he wanted to help us on the next case,
Nice.
to be there for us, almost like a guide.
Yeah.
I really firmly believe in when we communicate with spirit, when they make the transition, they're able to come back
Yes.
and still help and back and forth. It doesn't mean they're stuck here. It just means they're still here to help, or your loved ones kind of never die. They're always by your side when you need them.
That's right.
And I firmly believe that. But yeah, there are some spirits that are stuck, and once they make the transition, sometimes they want to hang around and keep helping you because you help them. And that
I
is kind of
have
a sign
encountered
for it.
that also.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have to say, I think that as human beings, when we're in our meat suits,
Mm-hmm.
we feel very separate
Yep.
and very independent. And that's not actually true. We're
Yeah.
actually all very, very connected.
Yeah.
And when we are without our meat suits, we then have an opportunity to kind of sense it. But I've noticed that when people pass on, they're not always reminiscent of it. It's like it takes them a minute to connect with the rest of the universe and go, oh, yeah, okay. So I can communicate with people that I love. And the going back and forth, I see every week, every seance I've had something, especially in the last 6 months. People share very openly that they're coming back and forth. They've already gone through the veil.
Yep.
They've already met up with their family and la la la, but they have stuff that they want to check on. They have things they want to see.
Yeah.
They want to follow this or that or someone that they work with. And you'll love this. We have a paper mill in our town.
Yeah.
And it gives me goosebumps just to talk about him, honestly. Thomas, these guys showed up and they appeared with damage to their spirit bodies. They showed me, I lost my arm, I lost my leg, whatever. They're spirits that worked as employees of the paper mill and got injured, and they came back and they now help the living that work at the paper mill, and they whisper in their ears to try and keep them safe.
Yeah.
They have this crew of, and I love that.
Yeah.
They're so amazing, and they're
Yeah.
the neatest guys. They just wanted me to know. We just like doing this. We heard about you. You're doing seances, blah, blah, blah. We really think this is important, and we want people to know we care.
Yeah.
We come back and we check on everybody because we want people to know that we don't want them to get hurt. We don't want anybody dying. And there was someone that passed away this year. A 35-year-old man actually had a horrible accident and passed. And he said, that's why we're here. We want people to know we really do care. We care about the mill. We care about the people.
Yeah.
And we keep coming back to check on everybody because we don't want anyone to go through what we went through. And I love that. I've met this a couple of times in different industries, and it just gives me the chills. I love it. It is such a good thing to remember that we are connected. There is a thread between all of us all the time.
Yeah, I think, once we pass, there is no time.
Right.
Time's relative and all that. They're not, spirit world, they're not looking at their watches, seeing what time it
Right.
is.
Right.
That's gone. I always say I have an easier time talking to the dead than I do the living. There isn't any of those hangups really anymore.
That's right.
There really isn't any drama per se to deal with, or that stress or anything like that. Yes, they still have issues, but they're not as left and right about it. It's
Right.
just, this is my issue. Can you help me? And
Right.
we try and help them, and they'll make that decision. But yes, they're still helping us. Our loved ones never leave us. But
Right.
some people, if they really love their job and all that, and they don't want things to happen, yeah, they're still around.
Right.
You could be, in work and all that, and all of a sudden you just have this weird feeling. I'm not going to go in that room right now. And then you find out, the room catches on fire and nobody could get out.
Right.
Something told you. And
Exactly.
it's the spirits of the people that gone through that. Um, it is true. There's so much spirit energy around us that we can't see. It's always going on. Some of us do see
Yeah.
it, and
Yeah.
you have to put up those boundaries. I have a certain time of the night where I'll help out spirit if they want to come and see me. I have an hour, and I leave it
Yeah.
open. It's just before I'm going to go to sleep. So I'm
Right.
starting to get tired. I put myself in that theta wave
Yes.
where, you could really, kind of cut the veil down and be able to have
Right.
conversations. So that's usually the time I like to do it, and have that time. But, don't wake me up at 3 in the morning unless there's some emergency, and,
Yeah.
that I need to call somebody to help them. Because you never know. You got loved ones that say, "Hey, call so and so," or something like that. So, you don't know why, but I don't question it anymore.
Yeah.
So,
No, I've had to set up my boundaries too, because they have no sense of time.
yeah,
And I've had people, when they're skeptical and they try to figure out, what do you mean they don't know they're dead? They've been dead hundreds of years.
yeah,
But the time thing is exactly why.
hmm
They have no reason to pay
yeah,
attention to time. Years can go by like seconds.
yeah.
It's completely different. Their perception of the world is completely changed. It's not the same anymore. So it makes perfect sense to me why they can spend years not knowing their past, and it's confusing.
Yeah.
I've met several spirits that passed in traumatic circumstances in a hospital and just wander the hospital for years, having no idea that they're gone,
And
and trying to
that's
talk to people, not knowing why they can't.
and those are what they refer to as the chains.
Yeah.
Us as being psychics or mediums, or basically mediums mostly when you're talking to spirit, but
Right.
along with their loved ones that are trying to get them to pass, they can't break through, and then you could help break the chains so they
Right.
realize, I am dead.
Yeah.
This is the way, go this way, or
Yeah.
whatever. um, I'm a firm believer, after years of doing this trial and error, you have to make your mistakes to get better at what you do. So
Yes,
I
you
tell
do.
everybody that there's nothing wrong with making a mistake as long as you learn from it.
Right.
But after 40 years of helping spirit, I realized that so many people say go to the light. They're you want to know what the light is? When you first die and your soul is ripped from your meat suit,
Yep.
that's the light that you see.
Yeah.
To go to that light, you can't anymore.
Right.
It doesn't work that way from spirit I've talked to.
Right.
The best way to help them is if they're in a traumatic situation where they have trauma or they don't know, is the best thing to do is get their consciousness to picture the best time they ever had in their life.
Yeah.
Once they see that, everything opens up to them and they're
Right.
able to make that transition. Uh, but yeah, it's just like anything in life. You go to those good times,
Yes.
and it always makes you happy. I call it, I've made up my own word for it. I call it the time travel theory.
Okay.
Just us as the living. Think
Right.
about it this way. You're having a bad day. Okay. You're in the car and a song comes on and you remember the song from childhood and how good it made you feel. Then all of a
Exactly.
sudden, you go back to that time in your mind
Right.
and you're like, oh, that was such a great time. And then all of a sudden you realize, geez, I'm feeling better because your mind today was having such a bad time and you went back in time to
Right.
experience what you experienced with that song again.
Right.
And it changed you back then to come back to now and change
Right.
you now to feel better.
Right.
It changes your mood like instantaneously.
It does.
That's the time travel theory that I've kind of come up with, where we could make our mind go anywhere and
Yes.
have those experiences. And the spirit world, the same thing. They could do that for us or help us, whether it be in dream or just come through us in a seance and make you feel better
Right.
about yourself and who you helped. So that's the experience of the paranormal, the metaphysical, or whatever you want to think about. And I think that's what makes it great. Once you understand it, the fear goes away. And when you understand things like that, it's not scary. Not everything's a demon. Not everything goes bump in the night. But that's
Yes.
how you're able to help families that don't understand it or anything like that.
The fear of the unknown, I think, is crippling to people.
Yeah.
When they put that block up that it must be demonic or it must be this, or they shut the door on what incredibleness could be right in front of them.
Yep. I'd say probably the two strongest feelings that we have as humans, or even maybe in the spirit world, the two strongest things is love and fear.
That makes sense.
Those are the two strongest feelings you'll ever have,
Right.
fear and love. And I always say, if I could help a spirit that has fear find its love again, then it conquers it and they're able to do
Yeah.
their transition. It's just like the living. When they have the fear, that you could show them the understanding and the love of it, then
Right.
that takes it away too. So,
Yeah. I had a spirit last year, a
mhm.
young man, and that's where he wanted to stay. He wanted to stay here and focus on the life he had with his mom. His mom died while he was at a young age, and then he died a year after.
Yeah.
And he said he didn't want to go to another life yet. He wasn't ready to move forward. He had such a wonderful time being a kid with his mom that he just wanted to stay there,
Mhm.
and I told him, "I get that. And whenever that changes, or if you ever get to a point, let me know and I'll help you."
Yeah.
But he was good where he was at. That the time when the transition took place and mom passed, and then he had to deal with the aftermath, and then his own ailment and passing was so traumatic. He said, "I'm not ready to just put that behind me yet. I want to stay where I felt good.
Yep.
I want to stay there." And
Yeah,
it made sense.
it is. And I think it's important to say, my other half, I talked about Stacia. Her son had passed. He was young, and it was awful that he passed at the time he did, because his wife was still pregnant, just got pregnant with their first son, and he had passed. But he was always so present in her life,
Mhm,
um, even when her being a shaman and him having some of those abilities too.
mhm.
Um, he had this knack of being able to make candles dance.
Nice.
He could make the flame go up by
Mhm.
like just movement and looking at it and all that.
Right.
And she would tell me all about this. We were together and we were listening to some music, and she says, "Well, this is my son's like favorite song." So she turns it on and we had candles going.
Mhm.
All of a sudden the candles like puffed up, and she says that's what he used to do.
Oh.
And as the song was playing, the candles were popping and
Oh.
moving in this tune of the song.
Wow.
It was like
Nice.
he was there and
Mhm.
always present in her life, always watching over her, um, bringing the right people to her in her
Nice.
life, and at the times that she really needed him. When her son is still looking out for her
Yeah.
every day of the week. I tell you, it's amazing. And
That's awesome.
I know she she loves that. I know she'd rather have him here where she
Well,
could hug
sure.
him and give him a kiss, but
Right.
he's always around her, protecting her, and putting people into her life that keep her on her path and keep her happy. And
That's amazing.
I'm proud to have met him in that spirit sense.
Right.
And I'm so happy for her that she gets to experience that all the time. So it's
What a
amazing.
blessing. I mean,
Yeah, it is.
that's kind of incredible.
Yeah. So
That's got to feel amazing because it's true. Yes. Would we rather have people we can hug and hang on to? Well, duh. Of course we would.
Yeah.
But the fact that they are able to tie us together and help keep what we're dealing with
Yeah.
in a fluid motion and doing positive things, that's incredible.
yeah, it is. I'm still blown away by it. And I've seen a lot of things in my career in the paranormal, but
Mhm.
the candles dancing to the tune of the music and all that, you
That's
can't.
amazing.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, he's here. That
That's
was like
so
proof to
amazing.
me that he's never going to leave you. He's always around. He's always helping. He's
Right.
putting the right people into our life and all that. And yeah, it's amazing.
So I'm curious, how old were you when you learned that you needed to be a shaman or that you were a shaman?
It always come in and out. I've always had people that were, you're a shaman. I'm like, no, I'm not. So, and you know, I think a lot of it, they call it the shaman sickness. It isn't like really a sickness. It's almost like a calling. It's almost like Back to the Future when they kept knocking on his head, McFly, wake up, McFly.
Right.
So you keep having things happen, weird things
Right.
happen. There's no such thing as a coincidence. These
Right.
things keep coming in your face, whether it be spirit animals always coming around or just things happening to you.
Hmm.
And a lot of times, negative things happen. It's almost like it's giving you warning. It's like, hey, I'm trying to wake you up, so I got to make this happen.
Right.
And you go through a lot of trial through fire. And I think finally the straw for me was my mom passing away. And I'll say it on here, she took her own life, and
Mm,
that affected me very deeply.
I bet.
And in my moment of sadness and grief, the spirit world really came through for me.
Yeah.
And I realized that, with her passing and what she went through, I had to finally say, okay, I give in. I'm going to do my calling. And that's what I've been doing. Being part of Wardruna now is all part of it, helping
Right.
people that go through what my mom went through,
Right.
and being able to help people through that and work through their traumas and work through their paranormal issues or work through whatever's going on to help them. And that's my life goal. And I'm so happy that I've met so many people along the way that are like-minded and have
Right.
that same goal. And we're all going towards that. And again, it sounds complicated, but again, I tell people all I do is help the living and the dead. Simple.
Right.
So
Yeah.
that's it.
Yeah. It's, I wish sometimes I say this a lot, but I wish I could plug people into my brain and let them
Mhm.
see what I see
Yeah.
because there's such a vibrance to life and having the ability to hear and see things in the beyond is like a magical spiritual Disneyland for me all the
Mhm.
time. Getting to hear and see things and sense things. And it just, it's such a delight. It's such an incredible journey. It didn't start out that way. It was scary and
Yeah.
terrifying at the beginning.
Mhm.
You know, I couldn't take a shower for a few years with my eyes open because every time I shut my eyes, something was in my face
Yeah.
trying to get my attention and it freaked me out.
Yeah.
But now by variation after all these years, I'm 61 and it's part of my everyday life and I
Yeah.
love it.
Yeah.
It's a blessing and I meet so many people going through these similar experiences, but again, like you said, all unique, all
Yeah.
different.
Yeah.
It's incredible. It's like magic all the time,
It is.
everywhere. I
You
went to
never.
a little local store and met a lady from Pennsylvania a couple days ago, just randomly. She was visiting family in Washington and happened to go through.
That's right.
And we had this instant connection and started talking, and there goes my internet. Forgive the glitching. I'm right around a bunch of lakes and trees, and my internet likes to go like this all the time. It's a pain
Maybe
in
it's
my
the spirit world saying hi to us and
Oh,
enjoying the
that too.
conversation.
They do. You
They
can
do
tell
play with
sometimes when they're
those
doing it.
frequencies and all that. So,
Always.
yeah.
But it's a delight because it comes in and out when you're expecting it and when you're not. And it's such a gift. It is such a huge gift. I really hope the future generations have it much more accessible than we do. You
Yeah,
know?
I say it a lot. I am so grateful for it.
Mm-hmm.
I never take it for granted. And I think one of the most important things that you have to remember, of course, myself as a shaman, what I had to come to terms with is to let go of ego,
Yeah.
not have ego to be able to help, the living and the dead. Because I firmly believe that if ego becomes involved, then you're too far away from spirit to be able to communicate properly or
Right.
to be able to help. So when you know it's not you actually doing it, where it's
Right.
things working through you as a conduit to be able to help others, uh, when you hear that inner voice, it's something giving you the words to be able to help somebody else. It's a gift, and never take it for granted. Uh, Embrace it, and like you said, you enjoy every day doing it and being able to hear and see, and that's what it's all about. Is you don't take it for granted. You don't have the ego about it.
Right.
It is special, and people have to keep it that way, and that way the next few generations will be able to maintain as we teach them about things like that and how to maintain and go
Well,
forward in the spirit world.
I think that your assessment to talk about things in a respect manner
Hmm.
is the most important part because there's a fascination with the paranormal and there's a lot of assumptions that I think people take that maybe are a little too far stretched.
Yeah.
We need to be really respectful of every part of it. Every aspect, every dealing needs to be done with an honor and a regard.
Yeah.
Um, I've seen several cases where that wasn't happening. There was such an excitement and enthusiasm. It wasn't in malicious intent was not there, but in a hurry and in haste to do something, um, there was disruption that caused more trauma for our
Hmm.
family and more distress and more difficulties because things were handled improperly. And I just want to avoid that for people. I'm hoping that we get more understanding and more education. So I'm really glad that you're having these events. Do you want to talk about the events that you guys set up? Can you share with that about a little
Yeah,
bit?
we do quite a few events over the year and all that, and some of our biggest events is, of course, the Connecticut Paracon, which recently passed. We usually have that in the second week of July every year, and that was very successful. I love that one because got to have our friend Butch Patrick, who played Eddie Munster on the Munsters, come and
Nice.
hang out with everybody, and my very good friend John Zaffis and was there with us, and it's always fun. I love John. We've known each other for a little bit, and he's a very special person in my life. And just all the people that were able to come from all over the world. People were flying out from all over the country to be
Nice.
special guests or just to attend and all that. So it's always great. Great speakers that we had, and then the next big event we did was just recently passed here at the beginning of August. It was our Connecticut Witch Festival. A lot of people don't realize is when you think of witches and trials and things like that, everybody immediately goes to Salem.
Right.
But the history is the first witch trials occurred in Connecticut, in our new world, and the first person hung being accused of witchcraft was in Windsor, Connecticut. Her name was
Wow.
Alice Young, and 11 people were executed for witchcraft, and they probably weren't even witches. They were just people that weren't as wealthy as some of the people in town. And when things went wrong, like a flu epidemic broke out, so the rich people had needed somebody to blame,
Right.
in that Puritan type style pilgrim days of the 1600s.
Right.
So Connecticut happened 45 years before Salem, and it was still going on then all the way through Salem, where they still
Right.
had issues. It took a governor that from England that actually worked with some people of the occult back
Mhm.
then that understood what it actually was. And then when he
Right.
come back, he stopped everything. He says, "Well, we need to have this happen before somebody's accused of witchcraft."
Right.
And I think he, as a governor, saved a lot of lives because of his experience with alchemy and things like that he learned.
Right.
So it took his understanding again. When you misunderstand something and you point the finger and all that,
Right.
these are the things that will happen. And I did talks during that. We had the speakers come and they talk about that type of stuff, what happened back
Wow.
then and how it still happens in other countries, or just what we happen to have happen online, where
Right.
people bully each other and blame people for things that didn't even happen.
Right.
So we're never going to learn unless we talk about that history, which we do during these, the trials, and we have people there. But that's a big one. And then one of our biggest ones of the year, of course, is the Salem Paranormal and Horror Festival.
Nice.
So that usually is in the second week of November, after
Okay.
everything is done and crazy with is all gone by in October in Salem.
Right.
So it's a little less crazy. And
Right.
we have it up there, and it's great this year. I think I probably could announce that I booked one of the horror guests is played Jason from Friday the 13th. So
Fun.
he's going to be there, and he also the actor James Stokes, his name is, and he appeared on Stranger Things, also the TV show.
Fun.
So he has a lot of stuff on his IMDb page. So, and we're excited to have him.
Nice.
But there's going to be a lot of other great paranormal guests and some other horror guests and all that we're still working on. So it's still in the
Fun.
works. But in between, we have psychic fairs. So we
Cool.
have people to be able to come. And the thing we started doing years ago is we would have psychic fairs at breweries, and people would, be able to come, and the psychic fair is going on. People are having beer or whatever and come out, get their reading, and there's some vendors there too. It's become such a big thing that a lot of other people are doing it now, having events at breweries.
It sounds
They have a
great.
built-in audience. They're
Right.
already there, and but it's nice. It feels good when people take your idea and they think it's so good that they want to do it themselves. Again, these events aren't easy. Uh,
Right.
there's a lot of planning, a lot of advertising, social media, print
Right.
media, news, being on, your local news station to
Right.
promote. It,
Right.
it costs some money and to be able to do that, but we want to bring again a safe place for us weirdos to go and talk. I think
Right.
that's the most important thing, and be able to meet the people that do this for all these years, and that you've
Right.
maybe seen on TV, or maybe you've read their book, or
Right.
anything like that, or seen them on a podcast like this, and just
Sure.
want to pick their brain and learn something new when you hear their talk or anything like
Right.
that. But along with that, we do investigations. So the psychic fairs we do once every season, so
Mhm.
4 a year, and then the investigations we try and do one at least once a month or once every other month, depending. It's harder. It
Nice.
gets harder and harder because we like to take people to places that have never really been investigated but are known to be haunted. So that
Nice.
way they're getting a new energy. It's not something that's over and over and over again where
Right.
people leave their own imprint of energy on there. You don't know
Yes.
if you're getting the original haunting after a while. So
Right.
that's always a good thing too. So we bring
Exactly.
that fresh energy for people to get that experience. And believe you me, there's been some crazy stuff that has happened on our investigations.
Oh, I
You
bet.
wouldn't think if 20 people are sitting there and you're a spirit that you'd want to interact, but we've
Right.
had some really crazy stuff happen.
I
And
bet.
that's maybe for another time that we come on
Sure.
the show. So
So if someone wants to reach out to you, if they have questions about some of the things that you're involved with, how
Mhm.
would someone go about reaching you?
Well, for me, if they want to, I'm on Facebook, Thomas Patrick Gormley on Facebook, on the Instagram, TikTok, I'm Archangel the Paranormal. Wardruna is the healing group. We have the events group, the Shaman and the Showman. Anytime you want to book something with us or get a hold of us through the events, it's
Okay.
CT Paracon with 2 N's.
Okay.
Was it CT Paracon at gmail.com. And
Okay.
that way you could reach out to us too. And a lot of different ways, word of mouth, smoke signals, whatever you want to do. So,
That's awesome.
yeah. Smoke signals is probably the easiest way to get a hold of me.
Probably less interference.
Yes, exactly.
No
So,
busy signals.
yeah, there you go.
Thomas, thank you so much for coming on today. It has
Yes.
been a delight to chat with you, and we'll definitely have to do this again
Yeah, I
because
appreciate you.
it
I'm very
sounds great.
grateful. Very
Yes,
grateful to you,
absolutely.
Holly. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. So this is Holly saying thank you for stopping in and watching. And as my dear friend Jay likes to remind me, please hit the like button and please hit subscribe. This content needs to get out to more people so more of us can talk about the paranormal. And this is Holly saying thank you. And thank you, Tom, again for coming. This has been great. I really
Thank you.
appreciate your time and you have some great information. I love it.
Thanks.
This is great. Thank you. And we'll see you again next week, everybody.
Yeah, see you later.